on the football note, we just kind of heard Max talking about, his legacy and everything he's done here. Just you're losing obviously some legends at the program. Max Borghi, Abe Lucas, Jihad Woods, so many others. What have those guys kind of meant in particular, though? Those three and kind of their value to this program and how important they've been. Obviously, understanding you haven't been here for all their years.
Well, as in when you take everything into account, it's just really impressive what they have accomplished as players, who they are as people, and kind of what they mean to this university and this football program. I think everyone comes in where a football program is at a certain level. And I think everyone's goal, no matter what you're doing in life, is to try to leave a place better than what you found it. And those three men, I think, embody that. And not just as players, as people, as leaders, I would hope our fans really know and appreciate what those guys have given day in and day out. And the work that's behind all the success that's what makes football an amazing game. You will practice football way more than you'll ever play it. So these guys have put in work, they've succeeded. And if you do it within a team concept, you can also have individual accomplishments. And that's what these guys have. They've meant a lot. And I know one day they'll walk away and they're just really happy and proud to be a Coug.
How unique is it in kind of your eyes that, you're losing both tackles, both safeties, both running back, both linebackers, and both inside?
Easy. Take it easy. We'll worry about those things after this season, but I'm not even sure where your question was going. I cut you off there. Sorry.
I was just going to ask, obviously it is something for after the season, but how unique is that just in your history of coaching where, of the guys you lose, it's almost entirely at a couple of positions?
Yeah, it's a little bit unique, but I think our whole situation and the time we're living in is unique. And, to have these guys even get the extra year, I just think it's so special. And I even just look at my relationship with Jihad and what we've been able to do in an extra year, just getting to know each other. And then obviously hoping, to help him in any way I possibly can for him and his future. But as a program, you got to always make sure you're building for the future and understanding what's next. And, I always like to say that our young guys that are here on scholarship, they're not here to just sit the bench the whole career. So it'll be their time to work and to grow and to get better because they've got to learn from such great people and great players, so if they had their head in the sand and they weren't emulating what Abe and Jihad and Max and all these guys have been doing and showing them the way, then that's shame on them, because they've had great leaders and great examples to go by. So hopefully those young guys will be ready and that'll be our task as coaches.
Kind of on the football side of things now, when you kind of watch the tape on Oregon, was there one thing that really stood out that you guys need to kind of fix before Arizona?
I wouldn't say one thing, Jamie. I wouldn't, I just still give a lot of the credit to Oregon. And, I thought there was times when we tackled well, we were physical enough at times. It just wasn't consistent, and to beat a great team, you got to be consistently great. And we just missed some of our opportunities in that game to turn the tide. And you can't do that against great teams. Oregon's a great team. I'm very comfortable in saying that. So when we had those little moments, the first drive or, there was a couple things defensively we could have done to get off the field and stop momentum and make plays. We just didn't quite do it, and as a coaching staff, we didn't quite put them in enough positions to make those plays. So we learn from that, we grow, and we've really moved past that point now.
And just kind of in that same category, not asking you to throw anyone under the bus by any means, but was there maybe a position group that you kind of try to challenge into this week and say, maybe just based off something you saw against Oregon or something that Arizona does especially well, one group that you said, maybe pushed a little bit?
No, I just think we've challenged everybody, and like I said, Jamie, we're long past all these things that you're talking about. Just to be honest with you, I mean, we had 12 hours to even think about that game. We've moved past it and we're on to Arizona. And I just think our guys have the right mindset. If you talk about 1-0, you talk about the next play mentality, you got to live it. And that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. So there's a lot of things you're talking about. I haven't processed those things in the last 48 hours, and we're moving on against a good Arizona team that hasn't quit, that's playing hard, that does a lot of different things offensively, and they're really flying around defensively. So we're on to that challenge and just excited for what we need to do to be at our best Friday night.
Thank you.
Coach, next one's going to be Colton Clark, spokesman review. Go ahead, Colton. Hey, Coach. Hope it's going well.
You too, Colton.
Thanks a lot. So wondering this week, have you guys been in the bubble or been getting out in the elements? Obviously, it was super windy yesterday, but you've been pretty lucky with weather games this year, and it looks like there's a little bit of rain in the forecast Friday. Has that been, emphasized at all?
Well, we were there Monday because we took the pads off of them, and it was, gale force winds. I mean, we wouldn't have got much accomplished. The bubble was blowing sideways a little bit if you were in there. And then today we just got off the field. We were out in the elements underneath the lights in the stadium. And, I believe when you play in the Pacific Northwest, you got to train in the Pacific Northwest, so we were out there. Our guys are ready, handling the ball, receivers, quarterbacks, DBs catching and finishing some things. So you got to be out there, and we'll be definitely ready for the elements come Friday night. That won't be an issue.
And I'm seeing the list of the players who will be honored, but I'm noticing guys like, Willie Taylor, Jalen Watson, Derek Langford, several DBs, D lineman, Renard Bell. I don't know, maybe it's too early to speak on this, but I don't know if those guys talked with you. Are they coming back, does it seem?
I mean, I think that's where we sit right now with most of those conversations, and those are always ongoing, but the COVID year provided those guys an extra opportunity, and why not take advantage of it? I think of myself as an 18 to 23-year-old young man with that opportunity to play a game you love at a place you love at a university you love. Why not continue to do those things? And that's my message to those guys as well. And you keep this core and this nucleus together, and some of those guys get an opportunity to create some more value for themselves. Let's be honest, a lot of those guys you mentioned want to play at the next level. So another year bigger, faster, stronger, improving what they can be. Another year in a system. I think they can show who their best self is. So I'm excited for a lot of those guys to be here.
Is it find that it's a challenge at all this week to kind of keep things status quo with it being on obviously probably an emotional week, or seniors kind of taking point in that regard?
Yeah, I think they are, and I think we aren't to the, last week. I think when senior night's the very last week in the last game, and, we still got a lot to fight and play for. And that's been our message. Senior night has been a focus and will be a focus, especially the night before the game, and some things I like to do. But we've been focused on the task at hand, and this is a team that wants to go to a bowl game. They want to be 1-0, and they still got a lot to play for. So, instead of being nostalgic, I think guys are focused and determined, and we'll pick and choose the right moments to kind of reminisce of what these guys have accomplished.
It might be too early as well, but I don't know if yet. Is the scholarship limit for next year? Is it like back at 85 in your knowledge?
Yeah, as far as I know, the extra super seniors that qualified for that, and that's what made recruiting so hard this year for the 2022 recruiting class for high school kids, because those classes were all wedged together. So essentially, pretty much everyone should be at or near 85, and then the super seniors get wiped away, and there's no, new scholarship numbers. I would have loved to see some sort of de-escalation back down, because I think it hurts the 2022 high school recruiting class. I really believe that.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Have a good one.
Absolutely. You too.
All right, Coach, that's all the questions. So one last one from Jamie Vinnick. Go ahead, Jamie.
I had to let Colton get a couple in. Just one more, please. Kind of ask everyone. There's obviously 2 games left, but if you kind of had to pick an offensive, a defensive MVP, and a rookie of the year right now, would you be able to do that?
Offensive MVP, a defensive MVP. Man, you're putting me on the spot.
Yep.
I would say defensive MVP. Right now a couple of guys come to mind, but I look at it as improvement, and I would say RJ Stone. I just really, really happy with what RJ's been able to do and accomplish this year, and his leadership and the things he does on and off the field. Offensively, just the biggest maybe I'd surprise would be Calvin Jackson. So I don't know if that's in the category what you're talking about, but just excited for what he's been able to do. And freshman of the year, I mean, they still consider Jaden a freshman, so I'll bail out and take that one.